All right, today we're going to do something cool. We're going to crack open the source code, the one that runs every single company, from the tiniest startup all the way to a global giant. And no, it's not software. It's something way more fundamental. We're talking about a company's internal communication operating system.
So right off the bat, the whole idea here is to completely reframe how we think about this stuff. We're so used to hearing communication called a soft skill, right? Kind of nice to have. Well, forget that. The core idea is this. It is the operating system. It's absolutely essential, mission critical. And just like any OS, if it gets buggy, the whole thing crashes.
So, how do you install this operating system? Well, it's not with free snacks or those inspirational posters on the wall, you know the ones. A healthy culture is actually forged in the little moments. We're talking about the day-to-day conversations, especially when things get a little uncertain or uncomfortable. That's where the real code gets written, line by line.
Okay, so what happens when that OS fails? What does a full-on system crash actually look like inside a company? Let's dive into the consequences.
Well, it always starts with a void. A leader goes quiet, a big decision isn't really explained, a huge change just happens with no context. There's just silence and emptiness. And you know what they say about nature and vacuums?
And almost instantly, that vacuum gets filled with anxiety. It just rushes in. People start guessing, they start worrying, they start obsessing over what they don't know. And that silence, man, it becomes absolutely deafening.
And this is where things get really, really dangerous. See, when the official strategy isn't clear, you better believe an unofficial one takes over. Those hallway whispers, the speculation, that stuff starts to dictate what people actually work on. The rumor mill literally becomes the company's leadership.
So here's the bottom line. The fallout is just immense. Silence is never neutral in a company. It's always given a meaning, and usually it's the worst one possible. Think about it. All that collective brain power, a team's most valuable asset, is now just wasted trying to decode secret messages instead of doing great work. The result? Total gridlock. Nothing moves.
Okay, I know that sounds pretty bleak, but there is a clear solution. And the fix for a broken communication OS, it isn't just dumping more information on people. It's about deliberately, carefully building one single thing: trust. So let's see how we can actually do that.
What's so great about this is how it takes a big, fuzzy idea like trust and makes it super practical with concrete actions, right? It's not enough to just say what's happening. You've got to explain the why behind it. You need to share the full context, not just the final call. It's about creating a real dialogue, speaking with people, not at them. And maybe most importantly, making feedback just a normal, everyday habit.
Yeah, and this quote just nails that last point. We've got to stop thinking of feedback as this big, scary, once-a-year event, the dreaded performance review. In a really healthy, trusting culture, feedback is just part of the daily conversation. It's this continuous two-way flow of information that keeps the whole system healthy and pulling in the same direction.
Okay, let's talk about the bottom line, because this stuff isn't just about feelings. Misalignment has a very real, very tangible cost.
And I absolutely love this metaphor. I want you to think about poor communication as a hidden tax. It's a tax that gets slapped onto every single action, every project, every single interaction inside your company.
So, what does this communication tax look like in the real world? Oh, you've seen it. It's that project that moves at a snail's pace because nobody's on the same page. It's that friction between departments that feel like they're working against each other. And it's all those constant, draining people problems that, are almost never really about the people. They're about a broken system that failed to get them aligned in the first place. But look, there's a flip side to this tax, and the source material puts it so simply but so powerfully. Clarity is kindness. Honestly, it might be the single greatest gift you can give your team. And why? Why is clarity such an act of kindness? Well, because it shows deep, genuine respect. It respects that people's time is valuable. It shouldn't be wasted on guesswork. It respects their intelligence enough to give them the full picture. And it respects their emotional energy by taking away all that anxiety that comes from just not knowing. All right, so as we start to bring this all together, what's the ultimate goal? What does a truly healthy, high-functioning communication culture actually look and feel like? Now, this part is so important because it just busts a huge myth about company culture. The goal is not some conflict-free utopia where everybody agrees all the time. Come on, that's not a culture, that's a cult.
The real goal is to create a place where people understand each other so well that they can disagree productively. A place where you can argue passionately about ideas and then, and this is the key part, still commit as a team to moving forward together.
And this quote just brings it all home for me. Forget all the abstract, high-level concepts for a second. Culture is just how work feels on a Tuesday afternoon. That's it. At 3 p.m. on a random Tuesday, do you feel a sense of clarity and purpose, or do you feel confusion and anxiety? Your company's internal communication is what shapes that feeling, one conversation at a time.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question to really think about. That feeling you have at your desk on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. What is your company's communication operating system shaping for you?